Recording is on.
Now, in the last class, like I said, we introduced lookups, but in this particular lesson, we have lookups and pivot tables to cover. But we're able to introduce just the lookups. Before we dive into the pivot table, we just want to, for the purpose of refresher, see what lookups again is all about. Now, the lookup function, you can think of it as like Excel address book that you have names of people and the contact of those persons, that's the phone number of those individuals. So if you want to look for the number of a particular person, let's say John Smith or Adam Smith. Now, all you need to do is to go to the name column and then search for Adam Smith. After you have gotten Adam Smith, then you search right word, that is horizontally towards the right, until you get to the that is the phone number column. So when you get to the phone number column, the value you see there is the phone number of Adam Smith. What he just did there is look up, and he did it in a manual way. You look up for the phone number of Adam Smith. So in that case, Adam Smith is our lookup value, and the phone number of Adam Smith is what we are looking for. That is the corresponding value we are looking for. So that is what lookup looks like. So the essence of it is to retrieve related data quickly without manually searching. So instead of you undergoing that stress out of maybe 1,000 or more records, you are searching for that Smith. Instead of going through that stress, VLOOKUP will just get it for you at a go. So now there are two major lookup functions we're going to consider here, even though there are more. We have the VLOOKUP and the HLOOKUP. Apart from VLOOKUP and HLOOKUP, there is a XLOOKUP, which is more advanced and more powerful than VLOOKUP and HLOOKUP. So in fact, XLOOKUP can do what VLOOKUP and HLOOKUP can do. So we are still going to see that one in the uh, topics ahead. Now, what is VLOOKUP? The V there simply means vertical lookup, and yesterday we were able to see that it searches for a particular value down the columns. So it searches vertically, that is down column. So it helps to find a value in the first column of a table and return a related value from another column. So that, for instance, now the first column now in the illustration we gave is name, where Adam Smith is the name column. So that is the first column. So we are trying to say that VLOOKUP will always search from the first column. So if you are using VLOOKUP, make sure that your lookup value is located in the first column. You must ensure that it's in the first column. So it will now return a related value from another column. In the example we gave now, that another column is the phone number. Now the H lookup, the difference is just that the V lookup is vertical while H is horizontal. So it searches across the row. So it helps you to find a value in the first row. So The lookup value here now will be in the first row of the table, and it will return a related value from another row. So this one is dealing with column, while this one is dealing with what? Row. This deal with the first column and this deal with the first row. And this one will search another value in another column. So while this one will search for another value in another row. Is that okay? So this is the syntax for VLOOKUP. So we say VLOOKUP. So when you say equal to VLOOKUP, and then it has a number of parameters. We have lookup value, lookup table array, column index number, and range lookup. So the lookup value is the value that you want to search something about it. In the case of the illustration we gave, Adam Smith is the lookup value. And then table array, that is the range of the columns where you are searching. It might be from first column to fifth column. So that is your range, the table array. So you're going to highlight and select all the columns involved in the search. Then the column index number is the column where the value you are looking for is located. In this case, in the illustration we gave, column index number is simply the number of the column where the phone number column is. While range lookup, as you can see, is inside square bracket. And in Excel, we have said before now that anything that is inside square bracket, that is any parameter inside square bracket, is optional. So if you like, include it. If you like, don't. But most times in VLOOKUP, it is good to indicate the range lookup. So what is the range lookup? The range lookup is simply it simply takes either false or true value. Now, when you say false, you are simply saying you want exact match. So you want to find exactly the name Adam Smith. When you say true, you are saying you want to look for approximate match. So you are looking for anything that look closely to Adam Smith. Now here is an image describing how lookup works. In this image, we have about 7 columns. Now, in these 7 columns, we want to look for the name of somebody, and the name of that person is Rosie. So we inserted the name of the person somewhere around the cell D20, and we need the result inside this test results, this cell E20. So now, because the name we want to look up for a value corresponding to it is in the first name column. Our table array will begin from the first name and we will ignore student ID. So we're not going to select the whole column. So what happens here now, if you look at the VLOOKUP formula or function, it's equal to VLOOKUP. Remember, the first parameter is what? The lookup value. And the lookup value in this case is Rosie. And where is Rosie? Here we are looking for Rosie. That is where we want to show the result. Rosie, we typed Rosie inside cell D20. So we say D20. Now C5 to H15 is simply the range, the table array. This is um, sorry. C5 is the parameter for. Okay, sorry. We are correct. So C5 is simply the table array, that is range C5 to H15. So this is C5, first name. So we are selecting from first name through to everything that is from first name to H15. This is H, and this is what 15, H15. So the selection started from here through to what this place. So that will have C5 to H what 15. And next in the parameter is the column index number. And the column index number is simply the column where you are looking for something. Remember, here we are looking for the test results of who. We want to find the test score of Rosie. So the test score is on the math score column. And that math score column, if you count from the table array you selected, remember we ignored student ID because our first column is first name. And that is because the name of somebody we are looking for is under the first column. So if you count from there, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that's why we have 6 here as the column index number. Now the next parameter says false. False in the sense that we need exact match. We need exact match. Now from experience, when working with Excel, it is usually safer to always put exact match if you are dealing with text like Rosie as we have. If you are dealing with numbers, then you may sometimes, in fact, it's just okay to say false if you want exact match. It's okay to say false to indicate that false. Then, if you don't want exact match, you put true. There is why I'm saying that is because there was an exercise I was trying to do with some other students, and because we do not put exact match, in this case now it was even a number. Because we not put exact match, the something was giving us wrong results. But immediately we put exact match, even though we were not careful about whether it's approximate or exact, immediately we indicated that parameter for exact match, the something now gave us the correct results. But because it was optional, we left it initially, and because we did not indicate the exact match, it was just giving us a jamboree. So it's advisable to always put the parameter exact match or whatever. Now, um, so once you do that and you close your bracket, click enter, you have 66. We're still going to practice it in the exercise section. Now, HLOOKUP does similar thing, but the difference now is that HLOOKUP deals with row index number. So your lookup value is a value that is in the first row of the table array. While the table array is a selection of the array, the columns and rows that you want to search in. While the row index number now is the row where you are looking for a value that is corresponding to the lookup value. While the range lookup is still either false or true. False for exact match and true for approximate match. And that is what we have here as parameters. Now, here in this example, you are looking for the total sales of banana in 2017. So, total sales of what? Banana. Now, what is your lookup value here? 2017. Over there. So, the lookup value is 2017. That's why we have 2017 here. And because of that, 2017 is in the first row, which is under, assuming this was to be a vertical column, as a data set that is presented vertically, that will be a date column. So now, so the 2017 is the first column, I mean the first row rather, that is this one. And then the next parameter there is the table array, which is from B5. This is B5 to what? H9, and this is what? This is H9. So this time around, you're even selecting the entire table. And after that, we need the row index number. Which row do we have banana? Is in the fourth row. If you count based on the selection we just made, one, two, three, four. So banana is in the fourth row, so indicate four. So by saying indicate four now, we need to tell us whether we want approximate match or exact match. So we say false because we want exact match. And once you do that, it will trace the fact that in 2017, this is 2017, banana is what 16,214. So we're going to see more details of that in exercise session. Now quickly, let's go to the second part of the lesson, which is pivot table. Pivot table allows you to summarize, analyze, and reorganize large data set quickly. So, pivot table is simply a table that gives you a summary of your data set, no matter how large they are. So, with it, you can summarize your data set to be able to see a particular information based on selected aggregation like sum, average, mean, of course, average same as mean, standard deviation, count, uh, maximum or minimum. So, you can take aggregates, you can aggregate data with pivot table like sum, count, average, as I've just mentioned, and you transform them into columns, right? Transform rows into columns. That is what we call pivoting. Yeah, pivoting based on a particular column. Now, you group and filter data dynamically so you can regroup your data, and then it is perfect for finding patterns and trends in large data sets. So in a large data set, you want to quickly summarize it to have a summary overview of your data. You can just use pivot table to do that. Now we have an example here. We have an example here. The example says a situation where insurance company data set is 500,000 plus rows. So we are simply saying that it has records over 500,000, showing insurance types for each customer. So the target here is that we want to find how many customers belong to each insurance type, meaning that there is a column that is showing insurance type. So that insurance type, we want to see how many customers belong to each insurance type. So, but if you want to do that for the 500,000 rows manually, that will be a very tedious work. But with help of pivot table, you can summarize it and select insurance type, and the Excel will simply regroup and reorganize your data such that all the customers that belong to each insurance type will be grouped, and either you count it or you sum it or you take average of it and so on and so forth. But in this case now, what we are looking for is what? How many customers, meaning we are counting it. So in Excel, to achieve something like that, all you need is to go to select the data set and click the Insert tab and click the Pivot Table option in your Insert tab, and then you drag, you see a pivot table template that will appear. Then you drag insurance type to a particular section called rows, and then you drag customer ID into another section called values. Usually, whatever you are aggregating is what you want to sum or count or or take average of it or look for the minimum or maximum. So what that thing that you're aggregating is what enters into the values section. Then the category which you want to group it is what enters into the rules section. Now, peradventure you want to now indicate, you want to form a matrix. There is also column section apart from row section. So you can add another categorical variable in the column section. And there is also a section for filtering. You can also add a value, a categorical value for in filter section so that you can filter based on that category. We'll see to that in a short while. Now, when you do exactly what we have here now, the result will be a clear summary table showing the customer count per insurance type. So you'll be seeing how many customer is under each insurance type. Is that okay? Now, the next thing, okay, this is a table that is showing what we just illustrated now. So this is a customer ID. This is customer ID column and this is insurance type. So by the time you apply those steps to do a pivot table, you have something like this. You can see under insurance type, the number of insurance type we have is just 1, 2, 3, 4. So what it did now is that it counted how many customers we have, count of customer ID. So it gave us this, that for the count of customer ID. Now, what we're able to see is the VLOOKUP, HLOOKUP, and now good argument. Which arguments? These are a brief exercise, a short exercise. Um, Even though the answer is marked there for us, it is there because we are working with data camp. So if you have access to your data camp, you can readily readily choose the correct answer and move on. So which arguments are required to create a formula using a lookup function? So if you look these possible answers that are given as options, we need a lookup value, we need a table array, we don't need a logical operator, neither do we need a value if true. But we need what? Range lookup. So if you have data camp, just select lookup value, table array, range lookup, and then ignore these two because these are the arguments that is available in your VLOOKUP or H lookup. Now we want to look at some exercises using lookup function to combine data from multiple sheets. So we want to see how powerful lookup can be. Want to see how powerful it can be. I want to use it to combine data from multiple sheets. So I would like to do that on my data camp stuff. So this exercise we are doing currently, look up, not look, and not down is the title of the exercise. So let's go there. Now the background says or this the overview said when you first receive your data, it was split into different files to allow quick sharing. That is, we have your files recorded in different sheets. That's what we mean. Therefore, your workbook has several lookup sheets with useful information for analysis. Eventually, you want to carry out some analysis in the product data code sold. That is, of which the information about product definitely is going to be on the product sheet. So time to it now we are saying that it is time to bring the product information into your orders sheet. So now the point here is that you have a data set for ease of sharing. The data set is containing, of course, this is Excel sheets. Excel sheet appeared sheet by sheet. Excel, let's say Excel workbook appears sheet by sheet. Now, For purpose of quick sharing, you have multiple sheets. You have the orders, you have the product, and the other sheets involved. Now, but you are trying to do some analysis on the orders made for a particular product, and of course, information about others ID. That is the sorry, not others. Information about the orders made. That is the product that we are ordered. The information about them is in other sheet, whereas the information about the product is in a product sheet. Now, we want to do that with a workbook file called V1 Lookup Excel file. So I need to open 4_1. I believe everyone should have this folder, not this one, not this one. Okay, let me go through here to get it under data preparation. I open, sorry, I'm not looking for this. On inside workbooks, so I have 4:1 lookup. So I open it. I already have something here showing. Let me close them. Don't save. Let me close this one too. And I don't want to save it either. Now, so the exercise now says that we should navigate to the other sheet. Currently, the file opened in other sheet, so we're already in others sheet. Navigate to the other sheet, which is where we are already, and create a new column called product category. Product what? Category. Now let me copy it and create that new column called product category. So I come to the file and click inside here and paste product category and click enter. So it gets formatted automatically for us. I double click on this line between AB and AC so that I can adjust the width of that column. So if you just double click, it will adjust it for you. Now, next to the okay, sorry, we are told to do that next to the product category ID, not cash payment. This is a product, excuse me. Let me just copy it again. In fact, let me cut. Let me cut. We are supposed to do it next to, excuse me, next to product category ID column. Is that okay? Next to product category ID column. So if I should look for product category ID column, products, where is it? Where is it? This is in column R. So we are creating this new column next to it. So all I need is to click on the column next to it and right click and click insert, and it will start a new column next to what just happened now. Excuse me, product ID. Right click. Wow. Insert cut cells. No, 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 no. Let's just use, okay. I copied the data, but it's requesting to insert what I cut. That is, instead of copy, I did cut. So I don't want to do that. Let me use escape to clear whatever that I have copied. In fact, let me delete this. Let me delete this. Let me, in fact, Let me clear the whole of that. Very sheet column. Good. Now I go back to the product ID. Where is it again? Where is it? Product category ID. So I click on this S product ID and insert a new sheet. So this is a new sheet, and we are meant to name it what? Product category. I'm meant to name it product category. So I just paste, click inside and paste this. Click enter. So having done that, excuse me. So having done that, the next thing is that we should pull. That is what we want it to be inside this product category. So we want to pull it from the product category name. Remember, our target is because our information is in different sheets, and now we need to work on the we need to work on product category name, and product category name is in product data sets, and we are working in other sheets. So we need that product category name to be taken from the product sheet, and we don't want to do copy and paste. So VLOOKUP can help you to achieve that quickly. VLOOKUP can help you to achieve that quickly. So from product sheet, we want to import, that is pull product category name into this new column we just created, product category. If you look at product table, you will see product category name. So this product category name is what we want to pull into this place, into product what? Category. Is that okay? So to do that, is it? To do that, what we need to do is we say equal to VLOOKUP. VLOOKUP. Now it's requesting for our parameters. Now it wants you to look up what? Product. Now let's go to first of all, let's go to the product sheet. Let's go to the product sheet. We go to the product sheet, you can see product category name, and now it has an ID called product what? ID. So excuse me. So it has an ID called product what? ID. And inside here, inside the orders table, we also have product ID here. So we want the lookup value to be product ID. Is that okay? We want it to be product what? ID. So we want everything from the product category name, which is in product sheet, to be imported. So our lookup value now, so this product ID is 191 now. So what it will do, it will go and look for the product name of the product ID 191 inside product sheet. So this is 191, you can see. So the product category name is cardio equipment. So it will just import this particular product with product ID 191. It will import the product category name for us. Let me go over that explanation again. This in this place now, we want to import, because everything we are importing must be corresponded to the rules we have here. We have product ID column here. So what we need is to select this product ID, because we want the category name, product category name of this product ID to be gotten for us from this product sheet table. So now What Excel will do is that this product ID now, which is 191, it will quickly go to product table and look for product ID 191 and then look for what? Product category name of that 191, and you see that is what is cardio equipment, and it will select it and bring it and insert it in this column for us. That's what it will do. So the first argument, which is lookup value, is product ID. I've selected it and I say comma. The next one is table array. Where is the table we want to search this thing from? The table is inside product. So we select from product name and want to make sure we select up to the product category name. The rest, we don't need them. So I just click Ctrl Shift and the drop down arrow to select everything. So I haven't done that now. I've selected from product ID to this place as my table array. I put comma. So next is requesting now is column index number. And my column index number is simply 1, 2, 3, 4 because I'm looking for product category name. That is the column index number. So I now type what? 4 inside there because I've selected products from product ID to product category name. So as I inserted 4 there now, the next thing is if I put command, the next parameter is what? Do I want exact match or approximate match? So if I say false, I'll say I want exact match. False. I want exact match. So having completed my formula, I can decide to click enter or I close the bracket if I click enter and I say, so as you do that, you can see that it has imported cardio equipment for us. Why? It took the product ID, which is the lookup value 191, and went to the product data set and use this particular product ID here to search for the category name of that product ID, which is cardio equipment. So as we did that, we were able to get this out result and it inserted cardio equipment for us. To fill the remaining part, all we need to just double click on this small square by the right and Excel will import the rest for us. Um, Something is fishy. Something is fishy. Why is it giving us non-applicable? 191 here. Okay. Something is fishy. Let's fish it out. Now, excuse me. Hope we're still there. Um, Excuse me. Okay, we're here. So now in this, if you observe this formula, cardio equipment, we got our T2 as that is in others ID as our what do we call it? Lookup value. And then from product sheet we got the array. And then now let's look at this 191. Of course, 191 is this. 403 as well is this. So let's go to the product sheet. 191 is this. And then 403 men's footwear. 403. Okay, sorry. 403 here again. 403 365. 365. Okay. T10, which is what it is. Product A9. Okay, okay. Now, look at what is going on here. If you click on cardio equipment, is that okay? If you click on cardio equipment, what you are seeing is the selection is from product A1 to D60. Product what? A1 to D60. If you click on the next one, that number changed from A2 to D61. You click on it again, it changed from A3 to D62. Click on it again, it changed from A4 to D63. Click on it again, it changed from A5 to D64, which is not what we want. Is that okay? We are simply, what happened here is that the table array is changing. The table array is changing. The table array is changing, but we don't want it to change. That is where something that is called absolute reference comes in. We have used it before, so we can use it here. So all I need is to add a dollar sign, because you know what is changing here now. If I click here, this is A1 to D60, A2 to D61, and then so what is changing is the number, not the alphabet. And remember, in Excel, the alphabet represent the column. Look at N, O, P, Q, R, S, and so on and so forth. All of them they represent the column. Whereas the number is representing the row. So this cardio equipment now is simply in A1, because we did not select the column headers. That is why cardio equipment is appearing as A1. So now we don't want that one to change to two or three or whatever. Because I don't want it to change, all I need is to add a dollar sign before the one. Add a dollar sign before the one. And because I don't want 60 as well to change, because 60 was changing and it was causing problem for us. So I add another dollar sign behind the 60 and I click enter again. So cardio equipment is still there for us. Now let me click this fill in again. I double click and you can see the error has been corrected. So if you check this 365 now, you will see that the product category name is cleats. Let's go to 365 under products. I have a 365 here, 365. Okay, let me find it by using Control F, and I type 365 and I click find all. So you can see 365, the product category name is what? Cleats. So with this, we have been able to import our we have been able to import the product category name, which is the column we created using what? VLOOKUP. That is the power of VLOOKUP. That is the power of VLOOKUP. Now, next thing we're going to do is that we should create a new column called product name next to the product ID. So let me copy the name of the new column, product name, and it's going to be next to what? Product ID, product name, and it's going to be next to what? Product ID. Now I come to our data set. This is a product ID. This product ID. So I right click and say insert. So I put the name of the column inside here. I say Ctrl V. I want to resize the width, and now I have this. Now, what did they say we should do with it? We want to pull the product name from product sheet by using a lookup function as well. So we want to put product name from where? The product sheet by using a lookup function. So what I need to do now, there is a product ID here. which we have before. So we're going to use this product ID to get the product name of this particular product ID from our product sheet. So in this case now, our lookup value is the product ID here, 191. So we want it to look for the product name inside the product sheet. Look at product name here. So what it will do, it will use the corresponding product ID here to look it up and see that product ID of 191, product name of 191 is what? Nike Men's Free 5.0 plus running shoe. So to do that, let's insert our lookup function. I say equal to V lookup. I select VLOOKUP. So the lookup value now is this product ID 191. I select it and I put comma. The next thing, table array is here inside product. So I'm selecting just from product ID this place. So I select it and press Ctrl Shift down arrow key, and it will select everything for me because I just need the product name. So the rest of the columns is not necessary. Now product name is in second column based on my selection. Product ID is the first column. This is 1, 2. So the next argument after table array is column index number. It's now requesting for column index number. So if I put comma, the column index number is now 1, 2 based on my selection because we're looking for product name. So I put what? 2. And then I say comma again. It's now requesting for what? Approximate match or exact match. What I need is what? Exact match. So I type false. I type what? False. I close my bracket or I just click enter. So if I do that, you can see the Nike Men's Free blah 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 has been imported from us. For us, it has been pulled from this product sheet based on the product ID we have as our lookup value here. So, but in order for us not to encounter the error we faced in the other one, let's quickly make sure that this A2 to B60 is having a dollar sign, and then 60 also is having a dollar sign because we don't want the number to change. Assuming it's the alphabet we don't want it to change, you add a dollar sign to it as well. So having done that, to click enter again and then fill the remaining one by double clicking this and you have everything. Let me check again. This 365 now that is clicked here, 365. Want to check the product name, perfect fitness. Okay, let me adjust the width. Perfect fitness, perfect rib deck. So if you come to product ID and check 365, 365, 365. Okay, let me use Control F to find it. Control F. I say 365. I click enter. You can see 365. The product name is what? Perfect Fitness, Perfect Rib Deck. So we are correct in what we just pulled from there. I hope this is clear to this extent. Okay, Obum, I see you dropped a question. Do we then lock it with a dollar sign? Yes, that's what we have done. I don't know if that is clear. Abum, are you there? Okay. Hope you understand why we locked it with a dollar sign. Okay. So now back to the instruction. The next instruction says that we should ensure that our new column, which is what the product category and product name, only contain values, not formulas. and want to delete any column in the other sheet used as part of the lookup formula containing identification number as and whatever. So now what this instruction is saying, if you click on our new columns, that is this one and this one. If you click, what you are seeing inside here is formula. Other columns, if you click on them, is the value you are seeing: West Africa, North America, Senegal, and so on. But if you click here, instead of you to be seeing cardio equipment, what you are seeing is what? A formula. So we want to make sure that instead of formula, because we use formula to get that column. So instead of formula, we want to be having the value, which is in this case cardio equipment. We want to have it to be showing there. So to do that, we simply copy this column, copy it, do select it and do Control C, and paste it again in the same place, but not using Control V. You go to paste here under clipboard section, click this drop down arrow, paste, and under paste values, choose the first one, value V. You get? So when you choose it, it has pasted now, even though you not see. But now, before, if you click here, what you'll be seeing is what? Formula. But now, if you click, what you're seeing is what? Is the value, cardio equipment. Cardio equipment. So let's repeat the same thing for product name. Product name. So we copy the product name, and then instead of using Ctrl V, we'll go to paste and click this drop down arrow and use paste value, the first option. I click on it, I have this now. So it's no longer showing formula as we had. So it's now showing the values. That's what the instruction said we should do. And now it's now asking us to delete any column in other sheet used as part of the lookup formula containing identification number. Remember, we use product ID for the purpose of identification in our lookup formula. So this product ID, we don't need it again. So we have imported what we wanted. So just remove the product ID by deleting it. So you can right click and delete the product ID. So it is gone. So now we go to the last instruction. Sorry. We'll go to the last instruction, which says, which is a question to verify whether what we did is correct. So using the column filters, how many orders were made for Dell laptops? So now Dell laptops, want to check Dell laptops. If you click under product name, you see Dell laptop here under product name. So let's unselect everything and select only Dell. That is under D. Where is it? D. Select only Dell and click OK. So once you click OK, what you're having now is only Dell. If you highlight that column, you will see that the count is 5. But the heading don't supposed to be part of it. That is the header, product name, not supposed to be part of it. So remove the product name and you'll be having 4. You can just select from here instead. Select from here. So you're now having what? 4. You're having 4. So of course this particular selection is very small. So you can just count it and say 1, 2, 3, 4. And you enter 4 here in your data camp exercise and submit. That takes us to the next exercise. I hope that is clear. All together. Now, so after this exercise now, the next thing is the next exercise is analyzing data with. Are you sure? Yes, analyzing data with pivot table. Continue. So want to see, so now let's read the background. Your order sheet is looking great. You have cleaned the data, sorted, created new variables, and even brought in columns from others sheet. So from others sheet, we brought in columns. I'm sorry, from a product sheet, we brought in some other columns. Now is a good time to start viewing the prepared data from a different angle and summarize it differently. You can do this by unleashing the power of pivot table and then looking at possible insights related to data code orders. So what I want to do here now, I want to see how we can analyze this large data set with our pivot table. Pivot table is something that you cannot do without in data analysis with Excel. Provided you are doing data analysis in Excel, you will always have something to do with pivot table because you need it to analyze large data sets. You need it, especially when you want to build dashboards. Most of your dashboard that you are building, pivot table is the way forward for you to plot the charts. So you summarize the table and then plot a chart from the pivot table. But at the moment, we are not dealing with the charts. We just want to deal with pivot table. So now, this time around, we are working with a 4 underscore 2 pivot data set. Uh, pivot underscore, sorry, oh, here. Pivot 2 underscore pivot exercise. So let me close this one. Let me close this one. I don't want to save it because I will need it for some other exercise. Now I open this one and I then open this. I wish we can finish those remaining three exercises before it is time. Let's see how far we can go. So now, actually, this is a continuation of what we just closed now. But I just like opening the new files instead of continuing with what we have done. So the instruction now says that we should remove any filter currently applied in other sheets and highlight all the columns in the sheet. So if you remember, we filtered for Dell, so we can just remove it by going to filter section, click the drop down arrow and click what? Clear. So once you do that, every filter has gone. All the filter has gone. Is that okay? Now, the next thing is that we should do was highlight all the columns in the sheet. All the columns in the sheet. So click Ctrl A to highlight all the columns in the sheet. Now we are not saying create a pivot table in a new sheet and rename the sheet pivot table. Now, whenever you are creating a pivot table, you can either create it in the same sheet or you create it in a new sheet. But to avoid confusion with your current sheet, it's always better to create it in a new sheet. So here we are given to create a the pivot table in a new sheet and name that sheet pivot table. So let me copy these pivot tables. Okay. Now in this whole selection that we just did, for us to create a pivot table, it is straightforward. Go to insert and click on pivot table. Now, okay, before then, let me say something. You can see there is recommended pivot table. That is, Excel will give you recommendation based on the sheet, the record that is on your sheet. So if you click recommended pivot table now, you see different pivot table recommended for you. Uh, you see some of product by price, some of products cost by department name, some of others total discount and all that, and a number of them. There are many. So, but at the moment we don't want to use the recommended. We have a task to accomplish. So you click pivot table here. Now, the question now is select a table range. You have selected it already by the selection we did initially. Now, another question is, do you want it on a new worksheet or existing worksheet? If you select existing worksheet, that means you want it inside this worksheet, which will cause confusion if you are not careful. So it's always better to put your pivot table in a new worksheet. Now, in this new worksheet, so if you click OK now, it will just create a new worksheet for you. This is the new worksheet. And this is your template, your empty pivot table. I've not inserted anything inside it. This is the empty pivot table. Nothing has been inserted inside it. And this is the field sections. Field sections. Where you have all the columns that we have selected to make this pivot table. And under this section, we have the filter section, we have the column, we have the rows, we have the values. I've explained that the category you want to group by, want to pivot by, is the rows. You put it in rows. Whereas the value you want to aggregate, you want to either count, you want to summarize, you want to take average, you want to take the minimum or maximum, so on and so forth, is meant for this value section. Then if you want to add another categorical column that you want it to now form a matrix, where you have the rows and column and then the values inside the table, you now insert any other categorical column in this column section. And then if you want it to be filtered based on a particular category, you pick that category and put inside this filter. You're going to see that very soon. Now remember, we are told to change the name of this sheet to pivot table. So all I need to do, I double click on this sheet and paste Ctrl V. Ctrl V. Oh, I'm not, excuse me. Let me type it instead. Pivot tables. Click enter. So the next instruction is that we should update our pivot table to display the total number of orders placed per market. So we want to display the total number of what orders placed for each market. Excuse me. So how do we go about that? Want to want to check the total number of orders. Now, if you come to our sheet while you are in orders in pivot table, you have order ID. We have order ID. So, we want to see how many orders for each market. If you scroll down, you will see other fields, that is other columns. You see markets. So, we want to see how many orders is in each market. So orders is the value we are counting. Remember orders, what is in orders column? Let's go to orders table and see. What is in orders column is ID. And those ID, they are actually numbers. Those numbers, they are simply an ID, it's not a value. It's not something that you can say you want to add or summarize, or take average. So for you to see how many orders, you simply use count instead of sum. But Excel, if you go back to our pivot table, Excel will usually sum it for you. So you have to change it to count if Excel puts sum. So we want to count ID. So we pull it and put it in values. So you can see Excel have done what? Summed it. So what Excel did is that it added all these values, which is not what we want. Sorry, in others table, it added all these values, of which this value is not actually a numerical value, it's simply an ID. So we don't need it to be added. We need it to be counted. So for us to change this sum, which has to do with addition, you see this drop down arrow in the name of some of other ID. Click on it, you see value field settings, and then click on it, and then you see count here, data from the selected field. You see what? Count. So click OK, and then you see that it has changed from sum to what? Count of order ID. So now it's not just count of order ID we want to see. We want to see it for each market. That's what the exercise said. Total number of orders placed per what? Market. We want to see it for each market. So the pivoting is on the market. So we drag the market, look at market field, the market column. We drag it and put it in rows. In rows, that is a categorical variable. So you can see our pivot table has been done. So we can see that the row label is containing what? Markets. And this one is containing count of order ID for each market. So the African market, you have 276, Europe 242, Latam is 240, Pacific Asia is 260, and so on and so forth. So this is a pivot table. So this pivot table has summarized our large data set and given us the number of orders that was made from different markets. That is what pivot table can do for you. Now we say next. There is another request here. Hope we are together. There's another request here that we should update our pivot table to display the total order quantity per market. So another aggregation we want to see is total order quantity. So there is quantity column which we are going to use. So we are going to do that by using the order quantity. So if you look at your Excel in orders, you will see that there is order quantity column. Where is it? Where is it? Order quantity. This is order quantity. So this time around, we are not counting the order quantity. We are summing the order quantity, because order quantity has to do with, for instance, now if this product that is $99.99 is laptop, 3 is representing that the number of laptops bought was what? 3. So 3 laptops was bought. So this time around, if you are now trying to see the number of orders that was made, that is the order quantity that was made for each of these markets, we now have to do sum, because this is actual number as a value. Now, so we come to our pivot tables sheet and drag this order quantity. Where is it? Where is it? This order quantity. Drag it to values. Remember, values is the section you put anything you want to aggregate. So I drop it. So you can see now I have count of order ID, and I have what? Sum of order quantity. So this is sum of order quantity. That's what the pivot table has done for us. This, apart from giving us the count of orders that was made, it has also given us the quantity of order that was made in each market. In each market. Now, the next instruction is that we should use the values in our pivot table to calculate the average order quantity. This is order quantity, sum of order quantity. Now, we want to get the average of this order quantity. And there is an instruction here that says order quantity per market in column D. So we should create it in another column, that is this column D. Are you there? Want to create the average of this order quantity in column what? D. Then they say we should add the header of that column to be what? Average quantity per order. Average quantity per what? Order above our calculation. So I copied this particular text and put it in D cell, D3. And then let me double click to enter inside the cell, and then I paste it. I click enter. So let me format it to be the same by using format painter. The same with others. Let me expand it to adjust the width. So I have this. So now we want to get the average. So if this is sum of order quantity, the average will now be number of orders that was made. So this is sum. We have added the order quantity. Now the average will now be how many orders that was made. So to do that, I simply use equal sign and say this. Exam may give me problem with that man. I say equal to um, this cell now is inside what? C4. So I type C4. Is that okay? It highlighted the cell for me. If we go the other way around, we may get into problem. That is trying to click on the cell. We will face some challenges, which you may still overcome, but that is a long stress. Now, I now say divide by what? What is inside this cell is where this cell is in what? B4. So I say B4. B4. Whether uppercase or lowercase is material. Just click what you have. And then click enter. So it has given you the average of Africa market. If I double click this, to do the remaining one for me, it has given me the average of all of them, including the total average, which is 2.8. So, having done that, we now face the question to verify what we have done. They asked us what is the average quantity per order for the LATAM market. So if you just look straight at your pivot table, this is LATAM market, and the average quantity order is simply 3 point what? 8125. 3.8125. And if you put 3.81, you are good to go. Submit it, and that is all. I don't know if we are still following. Hope we are together. Let me close this part for clearer view. Now, okay, thank you very much. Now, the next exercise says category of products. That is the title of the next exercise. What we want to achieve here is as follows. You had your manager mention that sales can vary depending on the weekday, meaning that different weekdays have different number of sales. Sales vary based on the weekday. There are days of the week that you may have high sales. There are days of the week that you usually have low sales or something like that. Now, You want to check if this is true, so you build another pivot table to investigate if actually uh, the sales depend on the weekday. Depending on what you are selling. For instance, now if you are selling foodstuffs, I think it's obvious that foodstuff will sell more on weekends, Friday, Saturday, because people are buying what they want to cook for that weekend and also for the previous week, because most people don't have time to go to market on weekdays, especially those that are office workers that stays in office from morning till evening, maybe around 5, 6. At that time, market should be closing. So most of the time they go to stock what they need to eat for that week. Usually when they close to work, maybe early on Friday or the next day Saturday, they will not go to work at all. So there is that day. So definitely that Saturday should be having a higher sales. So the same thing applied to some other types of products that you may be selling if it's not foodstuffs. There are weekdays that is a high sale or low sale. So that is what you want to verify in this exercise. Now we want to take the 4_3 category of product exercise workbook. I want to close this one, even though what we're opening now is a continuation of this. But I always prefer opening a fresh one. So I have this. So this is the workbook. Huh. Now, back to the instruction. The instruction say you should navigate to the other sheet. We are already in the others. Okay, not in the other sheet. Now this is the other sheet. Navigate to the other sheet and do what with it? And create a new column called day of week next to the other date. So we want to bring in day of week. Day of week. Want to create a new column called day of week, and it should be after the other date. So this is the other date, this is other date. So to put a new column there, I right click on this and insert. So I have a new column. So I double click in to enter inside the cell and click the name. So day of the week. And this day of the week, how do we populate data inside that column day of the week? We pull in the weekday from dates sheet. This is the date sheet. This is date sheet. This is the date sheet. So for us to get the weekday inside the date sheet, there is already a weekday inside. So we don't need to be looking for it. We want to pull this weekday into where the date sheet. I mean into the others sheet. So to do that, we are going to use what? A lookup function. And at the end of the day, we're going to format it as general, not as number or text, but general. Now, to do that, I come to the others inside day of the week. I say equal to VLOOKUP. VLOOKUP. Remember why we are pulling day of the week is because we want to analyze to see how sales varies within the week. That's what we want to analyze. We want to see how sales varies within the week. So now next what we're going to do, because there is other date here, we're going to use it as our lookup value to fetch for us what is inside the other table. That is the dates table. So if we say lookup value is this, now in the dates table, our table array will now be these two columns. Control Shift drop down will take highlight everything for us. After that, I can just put comma and then Excuse me, I made a mistake. I made a mistake. This is not what I was trying to do. Let's go back to the orders table. So our lookup value is orders dates. That is the order date rather, which is inside B2 of the order sheet. So I put comma. Now our table array will now be this because we want to pull in the weekday. I use Control Shift and drop down arrow. That is the down arrow key to select everything. Now after that, we need the column index number. Here now the column we are looking for is the weekday. So the column index number now is what? 2. So I press 2. And then next is what? If I put comma, we are looking for what? Approximate or exact match. We say approximate match by putting first. And click enter. So if you notice, it is formatted for us as date. That is because by the time we created this particular column, it copied the format of the column before it, which is the date column. So this is date column, and by the time you created it, this one became the date column. In our exercise instruction, we are instructed to make it to be general. To be general. So I come back here, I go to the formatting option here, and instead of dates, as you can see, what is showing here is dates. But before that, let me fill. Let me click on this and fill in the remaining one. But before then, I need to change this man, the date range A1. I put dollar so that it will not change, and then I put dollar here before the 1462 so that it will not do what change. As sorry, this is at symbol. I put dollar so that it will not what change. I click enter. Now I double click on this and it will run through for us here. Now I need to now format it to be general. I click on this and press general. So immediately as I press general, it is now appearing as a number. Now that date, it's formally appearing as a date because what Excel will do, it will convert the number that it has calculated to date. Because Excel works with a particular date as the first day. And that date, let me undo. That date is 1st January 1900. Are you there? So if I Control Z now to undo, yeah, okay, sorry, Control Y rather, to redo, you discover that day one, if you Control Z, is showing what? 1st January 1900. If I Control Y to redo, day 5 is showing what? 1st, 5th January 1900. The 5 there is day, while 1 is month. Altogether. So this date now that it formatted as, because Excel sees the first day in your date as 1st January 1900. So every other thing, if you have 10, it will just add 10 to 1st January 1900. If you have 20, to add 20 to 1st January 1900, that is 20 days, and give it the date of that day. So Excel is seeing it like that. So that is why we need to format it to what? General. Sorry, not just one column, but everything in there. We format it to general. So now we have the day of the week. So this is our day of the week. So remember where we're looking for it is because we want to analyze the sales based on the day of the week. So next in our instruction now is that we want to refresh our pivot table to ensure that the new column that has been added is available in the field name. So remember, this is our pivot table, and this our pivot table got its information from the others sheet. So if you look in our column, that is the field pane, there is no weekday here. There's no weekday. If you check, you not see. But we have added weekday. We just added it now. So for the weekday to show, you need to refresh. So click on your pivot table and go to pivot table analyze. If you go to pivot table analyze, you see refresh under data, the data section. You see refresh. So just click on refresh and your table will do what? Refresh. You cannot see weekday. That is day of the week. Is that okay? You cannot see day of the week. So having done that, the next thing we need to do, I think this should be the last exercise we're doing today because of time. And the next thing we need to do is create a second pivot table in cell F3 inside your pivot table sheet. So this is a pivot table sheet. In cell F3, this is F3. We want to create another pivot table in this cell F3. Is that okay? Now, and then what do we want to do in that pivot table? We want to display the total order sales amount by the date of the week. Total what? Order sales amount. So we want to count, want to see the sales by, so let me just come to orders table. Let me just click anywhere. Even if you not highlight all of them, it will still work for you. Go to insert and then click on pivot table. Now we is asking us, is it new worksheet? Yes, it's new worksheet. um, and in that new worksheet we are instructed to put it in F3. Is that okay? So I want to click here. Okay, click OK. Okay, sorry. We want it to be in let's delete it. So we want it to be inside this particular pivot table. So others, so we say insert, we insert and then click on pivot table. Now it's asking for new worksheet. If new worksheet will definitely create another sheet for us, but we are still working in pivot table sheet. So now we need to click existing worksheet. Existing worksheet here is it that we are not selecting this sheet, this present sheet, this other sheet. We want to select pivot table sheet. So to do that, click on this arrow up to select it. Click on it and then go to the pivot table sheet and select F3. This is F3. Select it and click enter. And then finally click what? OK. You can see our pivot table has appeared in that F3 as was instructed. What do we do there in that F3? We want to do what? Get the total order sales amount. Total order sales now is telling you want to add up, want to get the sum of all sales. Total order sales, sum of all sales. So I'm going to look for sales in our column fields, in our columns, and then where is sales. This is sales. Now I drag the sales and put it inside values. Remember, value section takes in aggregations, the values you want to aggregate. So I put it and automatically Excel makes it a sum, and that's what we want. So we leave it. We don't want to touch it. Now, and then we want it to be by the day of the week, which is the column we just created in the previous step. So we go up, day of the week is here, somewhere here. So we have day of the week. I drag it now, I put it in rows because it's going to appear as a category for us to be for the pivot. So I drop it in rows. So as I drop it, I'm now having what? Days of the week. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 through to what? 7. Remember, 7 is representing what? Saturday. And 1 is representing Sunday. So you can see, well, this data co company works on Sunday. Okay. That is still fine. Now, so we have this. Now this pivot table now is now showing us what the total number of sales for each day of the week, from Sunday to what Saturday. These are the total sales for each of these days. So you can see how pivot table helps us to bring a very large data set into just a small table to give a summary view of a particular analysis to that table. Now, finally, okay, not finally, we have more instructions here. Now, it look like Saturday weekday number 7 had the highest total order sales amount. The best way to see which have highest is by the time you do visualization, but we're not going to go into that now. It's beyond the scope of this particular topic. We're still going to come into visualization. So you can still visualize this. We're not doing that now. But if you look, you will discover that the day 7 is 64,000 naira 89, while others are far less than that. So this day seven is what Saturday. You see, just like we earlier said, people prefer to go on Saturday to buy something because that is when they have enough chance. Mhm. So that clearly shows the analogy we gave previously. So Saturday have the highest total order sales amount. Now, maybe a specific product category is driving this. So it's possible that there's a particular product category that is making people to buy every Saturday. That is making people to come and buy from the company every Saturday. So we want to check which product category is doing this kind of thing. To achieve that, we want to create another pivot table. Or rather, I want to update the pivot table we have. The update the pivot table we have in F3 to create a matrix showing the total order sales amount for product category by day of the week. So we have created sales amount by day of the week, but want to add by product category. So this is where the column section comes in. This is where the column section comes. So we're going to drag the product category into the column section. Product category. Where is it? Product. And this is product category. Drag it into the column section. By the time you put it there, let me scroll left. You can see the something is very large, very large, very large, very, very large. So the instruction now is the next instruction says that there is a lot of information visible, making it hard to what? Read. So we want to update the pivot table again to add a filter for day of week and show the data for Saturday only. So we want to add a filter for day of the week. So now the filter section, bring in day of the week there. Day of the week. Bring it inside the filter section. Are you there? So So you can see the filter section is now appearing on top of here for day of the week. Now at the moment is that it's showing all of them. Now, but what we want to do, so you say we should sort the values from largest to smallest and format them as currency. Excuse me. But actually, the target or what we wanted to do here is to make sure that day of the week, the day of the week is here and also here. Um, Actually, in this version of Excel, is not working out for us. Not working out for us. But when you're building dashboard, you can readily insert filter. You can readily insert filter. While you're on pivot table analyze, you will see, sorry, insert slicer. Hmm? You can already insert slicer. You can see insert slicer. If you click this insert slicer and select only, what is it called? Day of the week, right? Day of the week. Select just day of the week and click OK. You can see the day of the week slicer. So we want to sort it by 7. Sorry, we want to filter it by 7. So if you click 7, you now be seeing only the information for 7. You can see we're now showing only information for 7. But before then, before you slice, let me count. To clear the slicer, I'll click this X here. I've cleared the slicer. Um, Sorting it here may not sort the values from largest to smallest and format them as currency. Actually, if you should highlight all of these and format it as currency. Let's use two decimal place. They are formatted as currency. You sort it this way. Let me highlight all true. Let me highlight all true. Let me select here. Sort from what? From smallest, from largest to smallest rather. So I click here and sort from largest to smallest. So that is done. So by the time I click 7, I select 7 here. Or I can even do that by clicking here and selecting only 7. So either of them can serve. So either I use the filter that is showing here, or I use the slicer, or you can even go straight forward, push this one here to this place, and it will slice for you. So it will show only the information about the 7. Now the last instruction is question to answer. Which product category has the highest total order sales amount on Saturday, which is the 7th month? Which of them has the highest total order? So if you look, um, we are having to make this thing easier. Bring this column to rows here. Yeah, we have it in rows. Let me push this slider one side. So if I want to filter this, I can click here now and then choose more, because I don't want to filter based on the row labels. I want to filter based on, sorry, I don't want to sort based on the row labels. I want to sort based on the numbers. So I click this. Instead of me to sort A to Z or sort Z to A, I click on more sort options. If I click on more sort option, I'll be seeing ascending. Is that okay? But we wanted descending so that it will give us the highest. So once I click descending, I can select sum of sales instead of product category. So I want it to sort based on this number, sum of sales. And once I select it and I click OK, you can see it have done that for us. So the highest for 7, if you click 7 here, or if you cancel this and then come here in day of the week and select 7, this 7, and click OK. The highest for the 7th day of the week is sporting goods, meaning that it's actually on weekends is when people go for sports. So that is when they go to update their sporting materials. So either Friday, Saturday, they rush to market and buy boots, football wears, and whatever, so that they can go for sports. So that is what you're able to discover in this analysis. So if you come and here you see that the correct answer is sporting goods, and you click submit, I know this is a bit complicated. We're not going to continue to the next exercise, which is the grand total percentage. We'll do that in the next class, which is next week. So I know this is a bit complicated, but go through the recording again and you understand better. I don't know. Uh, I don't know if you have any question, even though it's time. I don't know if you have any question. Is there any question? Okay. In the absence of that, we'll continue next week. And like I've said, within the week, I'm going to drop an exercise or an assignment for to be submitted before the weekend. And if possibly, I may decide to give a break for the purpose of that exercise. Maybe use next week as a break so that everyone will have time to complete the exercise and then submit it, and then upper week we'll continue with those that submitted the exercise, and that is how we're going to be able to have a more focused class. So maybe next week we're going to have a break. It will be for that assignment or exercise, whichever one you call it. So we'll stop here for today. Thank you very much for joining. The recording will be provided for everyone, including those that have not that did not attend. See you next week. Thank you very much.